understand this, you have to go back to what young brother here referred to as the house Negro and the field Negro, back during slavery. There was two kinds of slaves. There was the house Negro and the field Negro. The house Negro, they lived in the house with master. They dressed pretty good. They ate good because they ate his food, what he left. They lived in the attic or the basement, but still they lived near their master. And they loved their master more than the master loved himself. They would give their life to save their master's house quicker than the master would. The house Negro, if the master said, we got a good house here, the house Negro said, yeah, we got a good house here. Whenever the master said we, he said we. That's how you can tell a house Negro. If the master's house caught on fire, the house Negro would fight harder to put the blaze out than the master would. If the master got sick, the house Negro would say, what's the matter, boss? We sick. We sick. Let's escape. Let's separate. That house Negro would look at you and say, man, you crazy. What you mean separate? Where is there a better house than this? Where can I wear better clothes than this?
Welcome back, welcome back. I hope you're ready for this one. It's not what you think. I like to do what I do. My father's here. No horns needed.
You said that your people have been fighting for 400 years.
Man, your people too.
So I just want you to explain what you mean by that.
You know.
You said that your people have been fighting for 400 years.
Man, your people too.
So I just want you to explain what you mean by that.
You know what I'm talking about. Y'all all know what I'm talking about, man. Don't sit up here and try to bait.
Time to learn.
Because if you know the history of the whole concept of whiteness, if you know the history of the whole concept of the white race, where it came from and for what reason,
do you know?
You know that it was a trick, and it's worked brilliantly. See, prior to the mid to late 1600s in the colonies of what would become the United States, came from and for what reason, you know that it was a trick, and it's worked brilliantly. See, prior to the mid to late 1600s in the colonies of what would become the United States, there was no such thing as the white race. Those of us of European descent did not refer to ourselves by that term really ever before.
Oh, so saying I'm white and I'm black is a made up thing. It doesn't exist. Man said, you know, you get it? You get it? Nah, you don't get it.
In fact, in the old countries of Europe, we had spent most of our time killing each other. We didn't love each other. We weren't one big happy family. The side of my family that comes from Scotland, hell, they didn't even worry about fighting people outside of Scotland. Highlanders and Lowlanders just fought the hell out of each other.
There can only be one. You know, like the Highlander movie?
So there was no white race, but in the colonies of what would become the United States, What did we see in the 1660s, 1670s? We began to see that Africans of indentured servant status, many of them not enslaved yet, they were not necessarily permanently enslaved. Some were, others were indentured, like many poor Europeans, for periods of indentured servant status. Many of them not enslaved yet, they were not necessarily permanently enslaved. Some were, others were indentured, like many poor Europeans, for periods of 7 to 11 years. They could work off their indenture and then they would be free labor technically. Realized, as did the white indentured servants, the Europeans who hadn't even been called white yet, that they had a lot of things in common, like the fact that they were all getting their clock cleaned by the elite. And so they would get together more than our history books taught us, to foment rebellion against the elite, to try to get a better deal for themselves on the basis of economic necessity and economic justice. And what did the elite do? When you see that you're outnumbered by black and white folks who are penniless, landless, peasants. And what did the elite do? When you see that you're outnumbered by black and white folks who are penniless, landless, peasants, you have to do one of two things. You either have to kill them all, but you can't do that because who's going to work? Rich folks weren't going to. They had to get poor people to work. The whole point was to be a person of leisure back in those days. That was the goal, was not to work. So you couldn't kill them all. You didn't want to kill them all. You had to do the work yourself. You had to build your own levee, build your own house. No. Pick your own tobacco, harvest your own cotton. No, we're not going to do any of that.
If the master's house caught on fire, the house Negro would fight harder to put the blaze out than the master would. If the master got sick, the house Negro would say, "What's the matter, boss? We sick. We sick." He identified himself with his master more than his master identified with himself. And if you came to the house Negro and said, "Let's run away, let's escape, let's separate," that house Negro would look at you and say, "Man, you crazy. What you mean separate? Where is there a better house than this? Where can I wear better clothes than this? Where can I eat better food than this?" That was that house Negro.
It's 2020, y'all. Yeah. And it's different than when it was 2016. It's 2020, y'all. Yeah. And it's different than when it was 2016. You know, the game has been elevated. As we can tell, there's no expense being spared. We had a black billionaire's lunch. Yeah. You understand? Right. And we here together, and we're going to keep staying together. We getting tighter. You know what I'm saying? And united we stand. And ain't nothing else to us. Black excellence.
Pay 3 times as much as the house is worth just to live near his master. And then brag about, "I'm the only Negro out here." This modern house Negro loves his master. He wants to live near him. He'll pay 3 times as much as the house is worth just to live near his master. And then brag about, "I'm the only Negro out here." "I'm the only one on my job. I'm the only one in this school. You nothing but a house Negro."
Right, Panda Bear?
And if someone come to you right now and say, "Let's separate," you say the same thing that the house Negro said on the plantation.
Mr. Lee, yeah, I love this drink.
Where you put my bag?
I like when you like this, Daddy.
Yeah, where you put my bag?
Daddy, I like when you
right
scrambling
here,
and scraping, when you scrambling and scraping for shit. No?
Okay, yeah, I'm not gonna go over with that one.
Make a wish.
That one?
Just blow it out. It's your birthday every day.
Every day's a birthday on Drink Champs, goddammit. I'm in.
Where I look back on where I became.
Did you miss me though? For real, because I'm saying it seems like a thing.
I miss
It's his
partying
birthday
with
party,
Puff, man.
man. But I'm talking about for your birthday.
Huh?
Why won't you party with me for your birthday, man?
We party for my birthday before you came to my party.
No,
Sound
but you
horns.
ain't never really party, you know what I'm saying? Eyes.
Right, man? Where you gonna get a better job than you get here?
Sound horns.
I mean, this is what you say. I ain't left nothing in Africa. That's what you say. While you left your mind in Africa. On that same plantation, there was the field Negro. The field Negro, those were the masses. There was always more Negroes in the field than there was Negroes in the house. The Negro in the field caught hell. He ate leftovers. In the house, they ate high up on the hole. The Negro in the field didn't get nothing but what was left of the insides of the hole. They call them chitlins nowadays.
Yuck.
In those days, they call them what they were, guts.
Guts.
That's what you were, a gut eater.
Gut eater.
And some of you all still gut
Gut
eaters.
eaters.
Elite. And so they would get together more than our history books taught us to foment rebellion against the elite to try to get a better deal for themselves on the basis of economic necessity and economic justice. And what did the elite do? When you see that you're outnumbered by black and white folks who are penniless, landless, peasants, you have to do one of two things. You either have to kill them all, but you can't do that because who's going to work? Rich folks weren't going to. They had to get poor people to work. The whole point was to be a person of leisure. Example, in the colony, begins to give certain carrots to people of European descent, saying things like, we're going to let you own a little land. Not much, but just a little. And we're going to get rid of indentured servitude. Now you're free labor. And by the way, once you're free labor, you get 50 acres of land. Just because you're free labor, see. So we're going to cut you in on this deal. We're going to let you enter into contracts. We're going to let you testify in court. And here's the best of all. We're going to put you on the slave patrol to keep those people in line, right? The idea was you're still going to get your clock clean. We still don't like you. We still aren't going to really empower you or change your economic subordination, but we're going to make you honorary members of this team, and you're going to help us keep those other people down. And so they got a little taste of power, and it did effectively divide and conquer those coalitions. Those rebellions began to stop almost instantly. Fast forward to the Civil War era, you have rich white folks in the South, where I come from, standing up and openly admitting that the reason they're prepared to secede from the Union, and the only reason they ever articulated publicly, ever, was to maintain and extend slavery and white supremacy not only where it already existed, but into the newly acquired, that is to say, stolen territories from Mexico to the west. That was what they said. Now we lie about it. We say it wasn't about slavery. That it was about states' rights. Yes, the right of the states to keep and maintain slaves, exactly. But back then they had no shame, so they didn't try and cover it up. They openly said it, but once again, the rich didn't want to go do the work. Are you kidding? No. They're going to get poor people to go fight for them. And the poor folks didn't even own slaves. Now think, how do you get poor people who don't even own the shirt on their back, let alone slaves, to go fight to keep your slaves for you? You've got to convince them that their skin is more important than their economic interest. Because think about it, if I am a farmer who has to charge you $1 a day or $2 a week to work on your farm and harvest that tobacco or pick that cotton, but you can get a black person to do it for free because you own them, who's going to get the job? Not me. In other words, slavery actually undermined the wages and the wage base, the economic floor of the typical white working class or low-income person. But they were told, if these people are free, they're going to take your job. No, fool, they got your job. That's the point.
AKA, if you don't do it, everyone that's doing it's going to get so rich, you will be poor compared to them. So then, most people they'll be like, all right, well, I'll take a little in part. Like, I'm human still. So, I'll maybe have one or two, but I won't beat them. I won't work them hard, but I'm going to get this money because the whole world's about to change. And if you ain't got money, you ain't in the game. And then nobody realized that those were the sons of the Lord, and now you got the curse of the Lord. Whatever you do to his children, you do to him. That's why they mixed us up with all the other black people, so no one would know who's who. Get it? So we're diverse. We're within all of them. So now, you don't know which one's the Lord's and which ones are just, people. So after my father shows everybody the reality, I think everyone's going to learn the ultimate old school lesson of don't judge books by its cover. I wonder why the Lord would make sure that we get put amongst all the other people that kind of look like us, but don't look like us, don't act like us, ain't us. But, just enough so everyone would be like, hey, they're all the same. So you all can get judged. You all could be tested. All at once. My father's a fucking genius. And we get punished at the same time. Everyone gets judged, and we get fucking the punishments that he said we were guaranteed to get. You're gonna get destroyed, and I'm gonna laugh at you. And then if you can go through the gauntlet and survive the game, I'm gonna free you. I'm gonna free you.
And so at some level, again, working class white people being harmed by white privilege, relatively being advantaged, right? Being given a leg up, being given a membership to the club, but in absolute terms being kept economically subordinated by the very thing that gave them a sense of superiority. How's that for irony? Then in the present era, this hasn't stopped. This is not ancient history.
And then less than 100 years later, your children literally walk around with backwards hats and gangster clothes shooting each other saying, call me nigger. You're telling me the curses of the Lord's not real? For real? Because the Bible said after we're done drinking the cup of sin and we're finished drinking it and we learn a lesson, he's going to pour that over and then fill it up with his love, and then he's going to get a nice healthy cup of sin for the nations of people that did us dirty, and everyone else got to drink it. And in that cup of sin, I think it would have the things that make us what we are. Niggish. See, it's not actually ignorance, it's curses of the Lord. See, my father said a house divided can't stand. So I think the first thing he's going to do is make people divide. Some people gonna want to go one way, the other niggas gonna want to go the other way, and I know why. Because a house divided can't stand.
Now we have people running around insisting that we should close the border with Mexico because if we don't, the wages of working class people will continue to fall. The implication being that the only reason workers are paid like crap in this country is because the border is open. But if you believe that, you would actually have to believe that if that border were closed, that all these owners of capital and industry would just say, oh, well, you figured us out. Here, it's a raise. Do we really believe that the only thing keeping bosses from paying people more is the presence of low-wage, medium, semi-skilled labor from south of this artificial border? Is that really what we believe? We know that if that border is closed, it isn't going to be closed to capital. It isn't going to be closed to goods. If you have a border that can be crossed by capital looking for the highest return on investment or goods looking for the highest price, but labor is chained to its country of origin, how is that going to work to the benefit of working people? By definition, it doesn't. By definition, it immiserates the working class. Divide and conquer. But the best example of all, perhaps, in the contemporary era, in the greater New Orleans area after Katrina. Here you have two communities that were the most hard hit. Lower Ninth Ward, mostly black community, 94% African American, about 40% official poverty rate, heavy working class community. And right across the canal, St. Bernard Parish, Chalmette, 95% white, also working class, high levels of poverty, economically very similar.
Well, remember, they were in the majority, and they hated the master. When the house caught on fire, he didn't try and put it out. That field Negro prayed for a wind, for a breeze. When the master got sick, the field Negro prayed that he died. When the house caught on fire, he didn't try and put it out. That field Negro prayed for a wind.
Well, in Los Angeles, strong winds are finally dying down, helping fire crews make progress in containing those wildfires.
The fires have killed at least 27 people and destroyed more than 12,000 structures. And as NBC's Morgan Chesky shows us, investigators are still looking into what sparked these fires.
We're here in Altadena, where you can clearly see the results of the Eaton fire. If there is any good news to come out of this past week, it's that fire crews have said that they have slowed, if not stopped, the progress of both the Eaton fire and the Palisades fire.
Reporting live from Hyper Clubhouse in Atlanta for Comedy Hype News, I'm Symphony Thompson. As the country continues to recover from the wildfire spread in Los Angeles, many around the world are still trying to make sense of this unexpected event. However, if you were to ask Eddie Griffin, the wildfires couldn't have been as unexpected as some may think. Eddie Griffin is back with another episode of his YouTube series, NNN, where he would talk about what's going on in LA. Now, during the video, Griffin would mention the conspiracy belief that the fires were started to hide and cover evidence from pedophiles.
Hello and welcome to another installment of NNN, where we give it to you straight, no chasing. Let's get right to it. LA is on fire. Now, a lot of people saying it's to cover up the pedophile trail, and all of a sudden the water ain't working, and hold on. 60% of the water rights is owned by this couple. What's their name? Yeah, the wonderful, wonderful company is owned by this husband and wife team. They own pistachio, they own Fiji water. I stopped drinking any of this around the motherfucking globe. Let them motherfuckers go broke. Feeding the pistachios and 60% of the goddamn water. Fired up, y'all gonna sign it over to this goddamn couple. Who had already left their house and knew that the fire was coming? But we still gonna catch it. And somebody do some research. In the rich neighborhoods, who had already left their house and knew that the fire was coming? But we still gonna catch it. And somebody do some research. In the rich neighborhoods, who had already left their house and knew that the fire was coming? We'll be right back after this commercial break. Leave it in the comments.
Where the wolves at? Best behavior. Now I gotta put your ass on respirators. Kanye blacked out, that's the best he gave you. Jesus Christ, easy nice, my best, a saver. Can't stop, won't stop, wouldn't fuck your bitch. She built like a bread box. See your bad bitch, she is average. I turn your fat bitch into a bad bitch. See your little niggas getting money again. I'm on my Willie Lynch, I got plenty of wins. See you counted on your lies, not like Jack. Random never number one, not like that. Started up at the bottom, they going down on my top. Giving maniac flows, call a joker with plots. Just another new Kane that I'm able to stop. Invented thug life, I ain't gonna lie, it was pop. Gatling gun, finish you and me. Beefing on his beat, he thinking that he God, he in too deep. Pop him in his dome, sound like Metro Beats. Yeah, it's a fact, my nigga. Where's Lucifer? Serve your master, nigga. Quote a little bit for your masters, didn't ya? Lifetime in hell, I feel bad for niggas. Y'all so at a mic at a time. Just another fish hooked on the line. Beach whales to that motherfucking dry. Then I go right 150 rhymes.
What I'm saying is like, what I'm saying is like, we're going to find that person. Yeah. When we do find them, once we get them back, I'm going to give them right back to them. Really? Say, congratulations, you played yourself.
5% white, also working class, high levels of poverty, economically very similar. And at the end of the day, in those first few days of September 2005, more similar than they probably would have realized. Because when those levees broke, they all got their stuff jacked. They all got their stuff destroyed. But if you had acted for 2005, more similar than they probably would have realized. Because when those levees broke, they all got their stuff jacked. They all got their stuff destroyed. But if you had asked white folks in Chalmette, and I've done it, who was the cause of the problems in that greater New Orleans area prior to that flooding, they would have pointed across that canal at those black folks, wouldn't have called them black folks, and would have said, there, that's the problem. 70% of the white folks in St. Bernard Parish voted for David Duke, white supremacist, neo-Nazi, former head of the largest Ku Klux Klan group in the United States when he ran for governor in 1991. 7 out of 10 gladly voted for him because he was blaming black folks for all of their problems, and they bought it. What's the irony? The irony is that while they were blaming black people for their problems, while they were blaming black people for the conditions of the greater New Orleans area in which they lived, nobody was paying attention, least of all they, to the fact that these white elite politicians, either in Baton Rouge or in Washington, whose job it was to secure those levees, to make sure that levee funds were spent in the proper way and that they were spent at all, those mostly white and mostly elite politicians did nothing. At the end of the day, it wasn't just the black folks in the lower ninth ward they didn't care about. They really couldn't have given a rat's ass about those poor and working class white folks either. And yet, when the people of Chalmette, people of St. Bernard Parish got back into session, first time they had a city council meeting, parish council meeting after the flooding, the lights aren't even on yet. The water isn't even hooked up. And the first order of business was to pass an ordinance saying that you couldn't rent property in St. Bernard Parish to anyone who wasn't a blood relative. Now, I'll leave it to your imagination as to why you want to pass a law. That law had never existed before. But now that it's been emptied out and you don't know who might come back, that's a damn good way to keep black people out, isn't it? Because if you're 95% white to begin with, if you pass an ordinance that says that, that's a great, you can't say no blacks need apply. You can't say no blacks allowed, but that was an ingenious way to get around the law. Now, they got caught. There was a lawsuit threatening they got rid of the ordinance. But my point in bringing it up, earlier,
Tell me, Vegeta, with that stamp on your head, I know Bobbity's been giving you orders. Is this one of them? Are you trying to fight me because of him? Or is this the same old story between you and me? Which one? Does it really matter?
Not to you, go on, but to a warrior it matters greatly. And you know this as well as I do, Kakarot. In a day, you'll be back to the dead, and I will not miss this opportunity. Who are you people? Don't you see the universe matters more than your meaningless squabble?
Meaningless, huh? What do you know of meaningless?
Spend most of your life ruled by another. Watch your race dwindle to a handful. And then, tell me what has more meaning than your own strength. I have in me the blood of a Saiyan prince. He is nothing but a joke. Yet I had to watch him surpass me in strength. My destiny thrown to the wayside. He's even saved my life as if I were a helpless child. He has stolen my honor. And his debts must be paid.
And not as serious as yours, I fear. Let's not stand on ceremony here. Mr. Wayne. Patience cost you your strength. Victory has defeated you. initiated, but we are theatricality and deception. Powerful agents to the uninitiated, but we are initiated, aren't we, Bruce? Members of the League of Shadows.
Then I heard the voice of the Lord saying, Who shall I send? And who will go for us?
I said, here am I. Send me.
I took you from the ends of the earth, from its farthest corners I called you. I said, You are my servant. I have chosen you and have not rejected you, so do not fear, for I am with you. Do not be dismayed, for I am your God. I will strengthen you and help you. I will uphold you with my righteous right hand. All who rage against you will surely be ashamed and disgraced. Those who oppose you will be as nothing and perish. Though you search for your enemies, you will not find them. Those who wage war against you will be as nothing at all. For I am the Lord your God, who takes hold of your right hand and says to you, Do not fear, I will help you. This is what the Lord says, Israel's King and Redeemer, the Lord Almighty. I am the first, and I am the last. Apart from me, there is no God.
Now, peace is the only thing that can save anybody. But you know, everybody's warlike.
Who then is like me? Let him proclaim it. Let him declare and lay out before me what has happened since I established my ancient people, and what is yet to come. Yes, let them foretell what will come.
My father loves your guesses.
Do not tremble. Do not be afraid. Did I not proclaim this and foretell it long ago? You are my witnesses. Is there any God besides me? No. There is no other rock. I know not one. I will go before you and will level the mountains. I will break down gates of bronze and cut through bars of iron. I will give you hidden treasures, riches stored in secret places, so that you may know that I am the Lord, the God of Israel, who summons you by name.
I'm the king. Not because they crowned me. Not because they cheered for me or lifted me on their shoulders. No. I'm the king. Because I took it. Every inch of this mountain. Every grain of stone beneath my feet. Every goddamn peak that claws at the sky. I took it. With my hands. With my blood. With every breath that tried to choke me out, I spit it back and climbed higher. They don't understand what it costs to stand here. They see the crown and think it's made of gold. But it's not. It's forged from the weight of betrayal. From nights spent clawing at my own chest, trying to keep my heart from stopping. It's made of the chains they wrapped around me. The ones I shattered. Every link. A memory. Every break. A scream. You see, they thought I'd fall. They thought I'd crumble under the pressure, that the cold would freeze me. That the rocks would bury me alive. They thought the weight of my past, of their hatred, would crush me. tasting the bitter sting of failure. I've heard their laughter echoing in my skull like a curse.
Yes.
But here's the thing about kings. We don't stay down. We can't. Because the mountain doesn't care about your tears. It doesn't care about your pain, your excuses, or your scars. The mountain only respects one thing: power. And I've earned mine the hard way. They called me weak. They said I wasn't enough, not strong enough, not smart enough, not ruthless enough. And maybe for a while, I believed them. Maybe I let their words sink into my bones. Let them shape me into something I wasn't. But not anymore. Now, I use their words as fuel. Every insult, every sneer, every lie. They're the coals that keep my fire burning. I've been betrayed by those I called brothers. I've been abandoned by those I thought would stand by me.
Weakness.
They smiled to my face and drove the blade in deep when I turned my back. And you know what? That's fine.
Yes.
Let them. Because
that was their level.
Every betrayal, every scar has made me harder, sharper. I've become the blade they tried to cut me with.
The truth.
They think I'm cold.
Yes.
They think I'm heartless. They call me a monster, a tyrant,
fake,
a demon,
liar.
And maybe they're right. Maybe I've had to become all those things just to survive. But I'd rather be a monster than a coward. I'd rather be feared than pitied. You want to know the truth? I don't need their approval. I don't need their love or their applause. I don't need them to bow at my feet or sing my praises. Because I've learned the hard way that kings don't need validation. Kings don't need permission. Kings take what's theirs, and they defend it with everything they've got. They'll never understand the sacrifices I've made to stand here. They don't see the sleepless nights, the battles fought in silence, the wars waged within my own mind. They see the crown, but they don't see the cost. They see the throne, but they don't see the broken bones, the shattered dreams, the rivers of blood it took to build it. I've bled for this. I've burned for this. And I'll be damned if I let anyone take it from me.
Charlatans.
They think they can stop me. Let them try. Let them come with their armies, their schemes, their lies. I'll face them all. I'll crush them beneath my boots and scatter their ashes to the wind.
By doing nothing.
Because I'm not just a king. I'm the storm that drowns them. I'm the fire that consumes them. I'm the nightmare they'll never wake from. I didn't climb this mountain to play nice. I didn't fight my way to the top just to be knocked down.
fall of Darth Vader and the redemption of Anakin Skywalker, his spirit wandered in the Force, liberated from the darkness that had consumed him for so long. Yet he felt a pull, a whisper from a place beyond anything he had ever known. Anakin materialized in the world between worlds, a vast ethereal plane, where glowing pathways stretched out into infinity, linking moments from the past, present, and future. He recognized it from stories, but now he was here, surrounded by the echoes of events that had shaped the galaxy. The Force felt different here, deeper, more ancient, more alive. As he moved through this mystical realm, he encountered visions. His duel with Obi-Wan on Mustafar, his redemption at the hands of his son, and the moment of Ahsoka's survival in a battle against Vader, pulled to safety by Ezra Bridger. Each vision reminded him of his choices, of his journey from light to dark and back again. But something else stirred in the depths of the world between worlds. Something far more powerful. The voice of the Father, the God of Mortis, rumbled across the plain. "Anakin," the Father said, his voice both kind and commanding. "You were always meant to be the chosen one, not merely to bring balance in your mortal life, but to maintain it beyond." The Father stepped forward. "I have held the balance for centuries, but the time has come for you to take my place, to watch over the Force, to keep the light and dark in harmony within this realm, as was your destiny." Anakin understood then. This was why he had been drawn here. It wasn't just about his redemption or his past. It was about his purpose within the Eternal Force. Nodding, Anakin accepted his role. The daughter and the son bowed in unison, but as they did, something remarkable happened. Their forms began to flicker and glow, shifting from the ancient cosmic beings they had been into something far more personal. Anakin's heart raced as he watched the change unfold. The radiant form of the daughter softened, her features becoming familiar, her grace unmistakable. She had transformed into Leia, his daughter, standing strong and regal as ever. The dark, brooding figure of the son changed too, his edges blurring and reshaping into the form of Luke, calm and full of compassion. Anakin stared, speechless. His children, Leia and Luke, stood before him now, where the ancient embodiments of light and dark had been just moments before. It was no illusion. The Force had chosen this form for them, his legacy now intertwined with the eternal balance he was meant to keep. Anakin's heart swelled with emotion. He had feared he might never see them again. And yet here they were, not as visions or echoes, but truly present with him in the world between worlds. The ancient forms of the daughter and son had given way to his children, real, powerful, and connected to the Force in a way that transcended life and death. The Father's voice, now barely a whisper, echoed around them. "Remember, Anakin, the balance is delicate. It will forever need the wisdom of one who has walked both paths. And now, you are not alone."
There is no dark side, nor a light side. There is only the Force. I will do what I must to keep the balance. The balance is what keeps me together. There is no good without evil, but evil must not be allowed to flourish. There is passion, yet emotion. Serenity, yet peace. Chaos, yet order. I am the wielder of the flame, the protector of balance. I am the holder of the torch, lighting the way. I am the keeper of the flame, soldier of balance. I am the guardian of balance. I am the Gray Jedi.